I mean, if you have to choose, which do you think would be your favorite or the top Louis Vuitton print? Hello everyone, welcome back to another mommy review where I review all things for the love of. Today I want to talk about Louis Vuitton. In particular, I want to focus on all the prints and monograms available over like the decades. I feel like there's so many different types of beautiful variation of the monogram and prints and leathers available, and I think it will be just a fun discussion to have about it. I mean, I think there's a lot of things into play when you're deciding on like which is your favorite print or monogram. I want to go over a couple focusing on like when you would choose a monogram or like Damier bin, or maybe we'll talk about the epi or the vernis or the emperor, as well as all these monogram leathers have been so popular and available in so many different types of styles of bags. So I hope this video will become helpful for you guys when you're deciding on your print for your first Louis Vuitton or your subsequent Louis Vuitton favorites. So on with the discussion, and like always, if you like the content on this channel, please consider like, subscribe, and sharing. It will really help a lot. Well, let's have this fun discussion. Now, to decide on the print, I feel like it's important, one, to decide on like your skin tone. Are you more fair? And also like what is your weather in your country? Because like, as everybody know, if you're going to go with a monogram, for example, you're going to find that there's going to be vachetta on it. And like usually vachetta is baby pink, and when it's new, and it turns into like this dark or brown honey as it's become used, but it is a little bit more sensitive to watermarks and such. With that said, I think this leads nicely to our first print that I'll talk about, which is the classic monogram canva. It's easily, I think it's like the most recognizable fashion print in the world, maybe, but it's such a Louis Vuitton classic. It's like really embodies, I feel, the essence of the brand, and once you see it, you know it. And like for people who carry it, you're really proud of it. You're really proud of the brand. One thing I think associated or con of it is that it's usually paired with like tan leather. We can change color even with like sweat or hand cream, so you just have to be a little bit more careful with it. Some people enjoy these beauty marks though. I think like nobody is perfect, and a bag should age with the person and shows character. I mean, life happens after all, right? And I think that these prints and the fachetta really tells a story that makes the bag really unique. And also one of the great things about fachetta is that like leather will become more like softer over time, and it just becomes more comfortable, which is a little different from the Damier bin which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I think the monogram is such a classic. If you are like okay with like caring for the fachetta, and you're okay with how it will age differently, I would say for sure go for it. If it fits with your lifestyle, and also like, and you're okay with how it's more of a statement piece, that you can tell that it is a Louis Vuitton brand bag. Now, if you want something that is a little bit more understated, I would probably go with the Damier bin. So let's talk about the Damier bin. I feel like this is such an understated print, but yet still recognizable for Louis Vuitton. It's just not so much loud and in your face. Literally translates to checkerboard for Damier bin. In English, it is one of the original prints. Like, it came way before the monogram. It was created in 1888. So such a rich heritage associated with this particular print. I would say out of the two popular versions available, the Damier bin is definitely a little bit more popular than azur. It has usually a combination of two shades of like brown or graphite, versus the azur that is more blue and gray base checkered. But I think it's really still very casual and chic. Some people love how discreet it looks, but still designer, and it's great for like rainy weather, especially when you see that the leather is treated and it's this dark color, so you don't have to worry about caring for the fachetta. So I think you also don't have to worry about color transfer with dark jeans with this dark color. With the treated leather, it doesn't stain as well, and it's generally more weatherproof. I would say more carefree if you're not the what type to kind of baby your bags. And it's harder to tell how the bag ages with time. For this particular print, and it's more understated. I would say that the newer version now is more matte than shiny, and then over time when it does tarnish, it turns a little bit blackish, which you can't really see as much. It's not as profound, and especially in the corners. The next print I would say is a Damier azur, which I think is such a pretty print, especially for the summer. Goes well with so many different types of like outfits. But of course, it also like color transfer easily. Even though how gorgeous and beautiful and iconic the print is, that's one thing I would be concerned about. So I would think twice before what kind of outfit I would wear if I were to get this particular print. But still such a classic, right? So the next one I want to talk about is the epi leather, because I think like epi leather is just so popular and also like such classic for Louis Vuitton. Because you can see that epi leather, they've incorporated in like a lot of different types of accessories and bags. So here's the epi leather. You can see here it's like a very sturdy textured leather. It was kind of made unofficial debut in 1920s, but it really became a mainstay in 1985. It's like this ripple like structure, as you can see. Doesn't take as much care and maintenance that you have to worry about. And like a lot of people who has like an epi leather bag testify that like just looks almost like brand new even years after having it. It doesn't require as high maintenance, and it's kind of more of a subtle look for the brand, because if you know, you know. Okay, so next one is like the Monogram vernis, if I said that right. I think it's like not as readily available anymore. You may have to actually look into items that are like pre-loved, but it's like essentially kind of this shiny leather that you can see here. It was introduced when Marc Jacob became creative director for this particular Monogram vernis, which you can find in bags as well. It's made of calf leather embossed with monogram on it, and then of course it is water resistant, but it's just kind of more prone to scratching and color changes and transfer. So you have to be really careful with it, like especially when it comes in contact with like other things like dye or even like magazines, like stores. You have to store it in a dust bag and out of the sun, and just have to be really careful with it. And I would say nowadays I don't see so much of it. I don't know the reason behind that, but I was probably not on the top of my list for favorite prints, just because I find that it is a little bit more too flashy, I would say. Okay, so we've gone over a couple of different like infamous prints. I think the next one I want to go over is the Monogram Empreinte. I hope I said that right. So I feel this Alma BB is such a good example of how beautiful the Monogram Empreinte can look on a bag. I mean, look at how gorgeous this bag is. Let's take a moment to admire it. Here you can see that has this embossed variation on the monogram, introduced in 2010. It's like the smooth calf leather with this like natural grainy texture. I really love it. I think it's like a really durable print as well. And I know with leather it'll generally soften over time, but what surprised me is when I actually try out the bag, it's not like super heavy as well, despite being on this leather. So those are the Louis Vuitton prints and monograms I want to talk about today. I would love to know what's your favorite. I feel like a lot of people would naturally probably choose the monogram because it's probably Monogram Kappa is the most popular one, but Damier bin has definitely caught the hearts for a lot of people, given it's more of a classic, quote unquote, given it's been around longer. But the azur is also so beautiful, and of course the Monogram Empreinte and the leather that they've been really pushing for leather for Louis Vuitton that introduced in 2010. It's also a very strong competitor. Which do you think is your favorite print? I would love to know. With that said, thank you so much for joining me on another mommy review. I will see you next time in another video. Take care and stay safe.